I thought you actually just tweeted what I told you. I was just checking your
No.
Twitter feed.
No. I was
yeah.
goofing on Marek before we hopped on the show, and he told me, I'll clean it up. I'll clean it up for the PG crowd. There's people that listen to the show with their kids in the car. He told me to fornicate with my chapeau.
Really? Yes.
Before
Correct.
we hop
yes.
on the show.
Just
Yeah.
a quick one. Quick little insult before we got to the the business
that.
of today, which is going to be a big brain day for people as well. We are going to talk about the value of NHL franchises. And we're going to do so. We're going to get to the official rundown here, the blueprint, in a couple of seconds, with someone who, as I think about it, Greg, first of all, is going to be smarter than us, and two, might have the best name of anyone that we've had on the program. Justin Teitelbaum from Forbes. How
Hell yeah.
awesome a name is that? What's your last name there, Justin? Teitelbaum.
Teitelbaum. Love it. It's in the range of a Boom in my book. I'm intrigued to talk to him. Like we've been kind of trying to get him on the show now for a little bit, and you know, one of the things I'm always fascinated about is where we actually get to these valuations. I mean, we obviously just saw the Penguins get sold, and every time a publication comes out with valuations, there's always this sort of like internal strife in the NHL as far as like what the numbers actually are and what they mean. I think the NHL, whenever valuations come out, are like, actually, it's worth more, and and others are like, maybe not so much. So we'll see how we get there. But the economics of the NHL to me are fascinating. First of all, in comparison to the other leagues, and the idea put forth by people like Alan Walsh, for example, agent to the Stars, that the league should be bigger than it is, and henceforth the team should be worth more than they are. But then also just kind of getting an independent audit, if you will, of how the league is progressing and how it is doing and what the health is. And it's always interesting to get that perspective from outside the hockey world.
And the other one too is, and I have, you know, over the past however many years, just, you know, and I think partially correctly and partially wrongly, just assumed it's because of, as we go back to one of our favorite terms in 2004, 2005, cost certainty. And the salary cap that has, I know, here we go again, that has raised franchise values. And then when players signed off on 50%, all of a sudden, everything just skyrocketed even more. The success of Vegas, the expansion model, all of it has pumped new money into the system. But there's more than just that, as I've discovered over the past couple of days, and actually even just over the past couple of hours, talking to a couple of people around the league. So, well, I'm going to do it with Justin because it's not just that. Like, there's a few things that have affected franchise values and help raise the values of all these teams in a significant way in fashions that are more than just meet the eye.
Well, let me ask you this in a general. We're not going to do that part of the show yet.
Yeah,
I want to ask you this.
Okay.
It's obvious that one of the few things that has retained value in the streaming world is live sports. And
Correct.
it's obvious that you need the teams that play the live sports to continue to play them. And if you have one of those teams, well, by golly, you've got yourself a heck of a valuable commodity, because the only thing making money these days in the world of television are sports. Is that kind of one of the things that you've discovered?
No, but that is but rights deals are massive. Rights deals have been massive, as has gambling. That has become massive for the NHL. And the other one, and here's your carrot in front of the mule, and we'll get to it later with Justin. Private equity. We'll get there. Yeah. We'll get there coming up towards the bottom of the hour. Meanwhile, the Blueprint is powered by FanDuel. Download the app today and play your game with FanDuel. Coming up on the program, you've already seen him. You've already heard from him. He's already slighted me. He is Greg Wyshynski from ESPN. He's already here, and he's got enough salt on his tongue to make even the most boorish person blush We're going to talk about shootouts. And I thought you'd like that one. Just top of my head. I'm fully caffeinated. Shootout controversy, or is there a controversy? We'll discuss Mitch Marner last night in the Vegas shootout. We'll talk about Morgan Geekie. We'll talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins sale, as I mentioned. Justin Teitelbaum from Forbes magazine will stop by, and we'll talk about NHL valuations, how we got here, and where NHL valuations are headed. Now, you said in our group chat early this morning, I want to talk about the Marner shootout. To which my initial instinct was, you should have just said, I've got a problem with the Marner shootout. Because you're not going to come on here to talk about how it was the right call. And everything is fine, and I want to support the officials on this one. That ain't you.
Yeah, because you know me, Johnny official support over here. Yes. Doing tequila shots at Tim Peel in the bar. So like, first of all, the message that you had in the group chat before that was, what are we going to talk about tomorrow? Tonight is the death of hockey. These games suck. They're so boring.
Man, Winnipeg St. Louis. Winnipeg St. Louis was by the way, just as I know they won, but just as an aside, I don't know what it is. Every time I watch St. Louis now, they just look tired. Like you're not supposed to be tired yet. The team just looks like exhausted or burned out or like sizzled to a crisp. It's December. Like, good on them for winning, but like they look like a tired team to me. Anyhow, continue.
Well, the Devils game got there finally. The power play goal late by Vegas. It started bad, but it got there, and then obviously 3-on-3 is going to always be fun. Let's talk about the Marner shootout goal. So, Zach, I assume that you have a little brew of this thing. Marner is the final shooter, it turns out, for Vegas against the Devils in the shootout. Here comes Mitch. No goals in 4 attempts this season. Quite pathetic. Here's the thing. Now, he doesn't shoot the puck. Okay? No. He has the puck taken off his stick via a poke check, as you can see, by Jake Allen. Mm-hmm. And then the puck rebounds off of Marner's skate and goes through Allen into the net. Now, the NHL rule, as you know, Marek, is that there are no rebound goals in the shootout or on a penalty shot.
Correct.
No goal can be scored on a rebound of any kind, an exception being the puck off the goalpost or the crossbar, and then the goaltender, and then directly into the goal. And any time the puck crosses the goal line, blah, 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 blah.
I see where you're going here.
Yeah, and you know I'm right. In that instance, there's no shot. Like, Marner gets the puck taken off his blade by the goalie's actions. The goalie is the one who creates, quote unquote, the rebound here by Allen using his stick to take the puck away from Marner. The puck then goes off of Marner's skate through Allen. Yeah. I'm telling you, man, that's a goal in my book. Like, I don't think there was a shot attempt
I don't mind
by Marner.
I will listen to conversations about let's change the rule or massage the rule or amend the rule and talk about things like continuous play. I'll listen to that. But in my mind, Jake Allen ended that shot with the voodoo stick. At that poke check,
the goalie touches the puck.
For a poke check, because the only other thing that can happen is it can bounce off the shin pads and go in. At that moment, because let's say he poke checks the puck and then Marner grabs it and shoots it in. Is that a goal for you?
No, it's not.
Why not? But he hasn't had a shot.
Because he didn't. That's my point. Is that he didn't attempt a shot. If you're the goalie,
you're not. Hang on. You're not guaranteed a shot. You're not guaranteed a shot in the shootout. No, you're not.
I'm not saying you're guaranteed a shot in the shootout, but for the purpose of this rule, they're talking about a rebound, right? You can't shoot the puck twice. The minute that happened last night, the announcers, I think it was on TNT, correctly identified as it as a situation where Marner shot the puck twice, and Allen immediately went to the referee and made that complaint. My argument is that he doesn't even shoot the puck. Henceforth, there couldn't be a rebound. The only thing that happens is that Jake Allen poke checks the puck off of Marner's skate, and then it goes behind the goalie.
So what's the actual? Okay, so hang on a second. So what's the actual shot then? Is the shot off the shin pad then? If he hasn't taken a shot, is the hang on? In your scenario, is the shot the shin pad? Because he didn't actually shoot it with his blade. So you're saying there's the poke check. separate from the puck hitting the shin pad, and that is the actual shot. So now we're good with a kicked goal in. Is what you're saying.
First of all, it wasn't a kick. It wasn't a kick goal. It was a deflection. There was no distinct motion. There was
we're
no
really slicing
pendulum
this
action
one
with the leg. I'm just saying that if the goalie gets aggressive, as Jake Allen did last night, and takes the puck off of Marner's stick, and then that puck happens to go off of Marner behind Jake Allen because of the goaltender's actions, that should be a goal. And you don't have to change the rule for that to happen. I think if the goalie is the one who, quote unquote, creates the rebound, then it should still count as a goal, because the player certainly didn't create the rebound.
Here's my problem with it. To me, the poke check is the save. That's the save. The poke check is the save. The voodoo stick hitting, like the way that poke check is the actual save. At that moment, when Jake Allen pushes that puck forward with his stick, at that moment, the event is over. Whatever happens afterwards doesn't matter at all. Because that's what we're talking about here. Because you think the play is still hot. Yeah. Hang on. You think that? I do. And again, that's what I said. I'll have the conversation. I'm happy to have it about massaging this rule a little bit, massaging this interpretation. But here's a question you ask yourself first. At what point is the shootout, is that one shot over? That shot. At what point is that attempt over? For me and for the officials, the moment the poke check happens, that event is over. It doesn't matter what happens after, and it doesn't matter how quickly it does. Now, I will say one thing. It felt, and again, this is just like, I'm just talking about the feels and the vibes here, Wish. It feels like that should have counted. Because come on, man, he poke so checks into the shin pads. Did he go? Hang on, after all that, yes. But then, that's like, you've heard me say this before. There's like what your head knows and what your heart feels, and sports is right in between. This is right in between. This is the in-between part. Because my head goes, nah, dude, the penalty shot is over as soon as Jake Allen poke checks that puck. Event over. Last call, we're done. Time, gentlemen, time. But my heart goes, come on. That should count.
The last two things I'll say about this. First of all, again, there's no attempts on a rebound. Where is the rebound? There's no shot. How could there be a rebound without a shot? And the second thing I'll say is that once again we get into
what is the metaphysical status of the puck off the shin pad?
That's right.
What our philosopher friend here in New York is asking.
That's right. I mean, all we are collections of atoms, right? We're just space dust. But the other thing I'll say, and it goes back to one of our favorite, rules arguments, which is the spirit of the thing. And I think much like the spirit of the offside rule is to prevent Matt Duchene being a country mile offside, the inciting incident in the offside rule. The spirit of the rule on the rebound business is if it goes off the goalie's pads, you can't then pick it up and take another shot. And I don't think that was the situation last night with Marner. I understand why. And listen, as a Devils fan, I love the rule. I'm glad it was enforced last night. But from looking at it logically and reading the rule and looking at what happened, I think that should have been a goal under these rules, or under what should be probably an augmentation of the rule. If we were to say, if the goalie creates the rebound, you can still score the goal or what have you.
You 100% nailed it with me. I want to enjoy my sports based on vibes, based on feels, based on it's 100% true. Like, I don't like a binary NHL with ones and zeros and blacks and whites, and this is either it's in or other than puck over the red line. Like, this is why I hate the puck over the glass rule. There's too many variables, especially late in a period, for things like that. So I just can't stand. I like a lot of gray in the game. I really, really do. That's what I want. I don't want yes or no. I like a whole bunch of maybe. That's what I love in my sports, and that's what I've always loved about hockey. That's why I think it's the best flow game going. I've always loved it. And whenever the NHL or any other organization wants to make it ones and zeros and make it binary, I always say, man, you're killing something. You're killing part of the spirit of the game. You're killing part of the spirit of the game, Reg. Now, here's a question
We both love human error. I'm not a fan of robot umps. I'm sure you're not a fan of robot umps. But more than anything else, Marek, I am a fan of logic. Give me logical consistency. You just want a puck over the glass? If I shoot the puck from my own end and it goes over the glass on the other side of the ice, I am probably not trying to put it out of play. It probably was just a mistake on my part. and therefore should not count as a delay of game penalty.
Yes. But please understand, like what I'm arguing comes along with the realization that we all have to come to, and understanding that we all have to come to, is the rule book is interpreted by officials differently. Okay? Because given that you and I both see the Mitch Marner thing the same way, and I think a lot of people do too, you're like, okay, come on, like that should be a goal. Not every official is going to see it the exact same way. Just like every official is not going to see puck over glass the exact same way. Like that's part of both the beauty and what can lead to a lot of anger around hockey, is that it is still interpretation and it's happening really fast, and no two officials have the same eyes. We can argue and try to get as close to being symmetry as possible between the officials, but please understand that if you want to go my way here on this one, if you want to go Wish's way on this one, you got to be comfortable with interpretation. And here's the other thing. Let's say this really quietly because a lot of people don't like to hear it. Okay, maybe my interpretation sometimes is wrong. Maybe sometimes your interpretation is wrong. Sometimes Zach's interpretation is wrong, and sometimes the official's interpretation is wrong.
Whoa, that was way too confident.
Hold on. What I'm saying is here, when it comes to a lot of these interpretations, which we're trying to encourage more of, there is no center to hold. It's all interpretation. Right. But to me, that's part of the beauty of hockey. And that's why I've always loved it. There is no center to hold.
Right. And then sometimes you give a team a penalty, and then because you know the script in your head, the other team has to get a penalty next.
You're a big fan of pro wrestling. I will tell you one thing. I do love knowing that. This team just got 3 power plays in a row. Guess what? The first time there's anything close, we know what's going to happen. To me, that's part of the
sometimes story. Sometimes you get caught on a hot mic saying that, and then you're not allowed to actually finish the final year of your NHL career.
Some that has happened, and you know what? Sometimes we hear that, and we all pretend that we don't know that actually happens. Oh my! Like the first time you just found out that Spider-Man was Peter Parker, or you just found out that Santa Claus didn't exist. Oh, and then we all feign more outrage about it.
I started the show by saying people play this podcast in their car with their children, for God's sakes. We're a scant few days away from the holiday.
Sorry. Tooth Fairy's still real, though. That's very much true. Okay, I wanted to... I've exhausted my part of that conversation, though. Here's what I want, and it's funny because Claire said, didn't you guys talk about this on the old pod? It's funny you mentioned this for today because there was something about the shootout that I had mentioned a couple of weeks ago. We were watching hockey and there was a shootout, and I mentioned something that I don't know if I just thought of it or we talked about it on the old podcast, but it does sound very much like MVSW 1.0.
All right.
Okay. None of us love the shootout. No. We're all kind of like, okay, all right. I guess we need a mechanism to end this thing. And the Players Association isn't going to go for unlimited overtime. And even overtime now is just regroups, but I digress. Although Ottawa had a really good one the other night. Man, that was a good shoot.
Dude, really everyone who says that, that's like the knock on overtime. Then you actually watch one and there's always like at least 3 moments of absolute chaos in overtime. It still works for me all right.
5 minutes to do it and you get like 30 seconds of good play. Anyhow, But how about this? How about this idea? Let me know if this is from MVSW 1.0. Shootout idea.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Each team chooses the other team's shooters.
Oh. Now, I don't recall if we had that idea on the old show. I mean, the idea that you loved in the old show was the idea that's been adopted by certain minor leagues around hockey, which is and actually also I think the PWHL as well. The you pick your opponent in the first round business was always the thing that you loved about that. So you're saying that you get to select the shooters from the other team that take part in the shootout. Now,
Sheldon would have picked Bruce's shooters yesterday and vice versa.
I respectfully ask you this.
Yes.
If we're going to have a shootout, the reason it exists, besides artificially ending a game in a manner in which there isn't a defenseman playing his position or a pass attempted, is because you want to give players like Mitchell Marner, for example, the chance to shine, the chance to create highlights, the chance to get on SportsCenter with a goal like the one Jesper Bratt scored yesterday, that is, accentuating the skill and athleticism of your players. In your scenario, we would still have a shootout, but the shitty players would be the ones getting the shine and getting the spotlight. Is that correct?
I think shitty is too strong, but I would have loved it if Brendan Dillon ended that game last night.
Okay, sorry. Less skilled.
Thank you.
Less skilled players.
Thank you.
Get a chance.
No, I just, you know me. I love forcing people into decisions. And the nature of, like, I'm just about, like, maybe this is just the pro wrestling guy in me that wants to see, like Bruce Cassidy point to Brendan Dillon, get at the dot. You're my choice, and have Dillon score and do the slow skate by the Vegas bench, staring at Bruce Cassidy.
You chose me, and look what I did. I showed you.
That's what I want.
I mean, so this is you wanting the comeuppance vibe, and this is you wanting to recreate the Marek Malik moment writ large.
Well, that was a great one. Yes.
I'll tell you where you might have something here, man. Like if you get through the initial group of shooters, maybe then that's where you go. Is then the opposing coaches can choose the next shooter after you get through. Give the stars a chance.
You go through the whole roster. You got to go through the whole roster.
No. If it goes past the initial, what is it? 5 shooters, I guess it is. 3 shooters, what the hell it is. Shows you how much I care about the shootout. Then the coaches can pick the next guy. Maybe you can do that.
I don't want to compromise. Don't be Canadian about this. Like, Greg, don't be Canadian. You're an American. You should love this. Like, come on. Puff out your chest. Let that eagle soar. No, we're forcing you into a decision. You pick our shooters, and we're still going to beat you.
Jeff, I want to add and make yours. I want to elevate yours. I want to allow you to pick the same guy again. So Brendan Dillon goes and shoots first, and he doesn't score, and then Bruce Cassidy goes, "I want to see you shoot again."
And then maybe the mascot.
God. Oh my God, you guys are cruel. Yeah. My shootout remedy was always like if you needed to end the game, you do alternating 1-minute power plays, like maybe like a 4-on-2 or something like that to try to guarantee a goal. Again, one of my issues with the shootout perpetually is the idea that you've now played this incredible team game for like over 60 minutes and then overtime. Even in the 3-on-3, it's still a team game. And then you choose to end the game with a mechanism that is not a team game. It's just 2 individuals going at each other. And I think that's not keeping within the spirit of what you've been watching for the past like 2.5 hours. It's always my issue with the shootout.
Here's another one.
No.
For the overtime, why not play the full 5? Treat it like a separate game. It's its own mini game. You score a game, still not over. You keep playing.
So you're playing 5-on-5 even strength, you're saying?
No, 3-on-3, but for 5 minutes. You scored, great, game still not over.
Oh, you're saying do it like kind of like NFL overtime rules now, where if you kick a field goal or whatever, like the game continues or whatever. Yeah. I mean that's, and I guess soccer is the same way too, right? Like if it's not golden goal, if it's just the overtime period, then you keep on playing. You get no complaints from me, man. I love the 3-on-3. I'd love to see more of it, but I guess if you keep playing, that increases the chances you make it to the shootout, which is the thing I don't like.
Yeah, I guess that's
I don't like your idea.
Okay, so you end up not liking the idea, and you didn't like the shootout before the games last week either. You just don't like the shootout.
Oh my God, that's just a terrible idea.
You know who likes that?
Most of your ideas,
you know who likes that idea?
Are at least like a beep.
You know who likes that idea? Business operations, because it gets everybody in the rink on time to start spending.
Well,
I'm just trying to keep the lights on. Operations. Trying to keep the lights on around here, Greg Wyshynski.
We should really be designing the game around the guy who makes sure we have enough napkins. That's who we should definitely be like trying to design the game for.
Get everybody into the building on time. Make sure you're here 10 minutes early.
Didn't we just? I'm not really litigating this with you. Like Zach made, I think also the people in the chat made the good point, which is that traffic exists. Childcare concerns exist. Like people are going to be late to the game for various and sundry reasons, and you're going to punish them for it.
7:30 starts. There you go. Solved it.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what's coming up?
Is Lindy Ruff is Lindy Ruff coaching tonight? By the way,
so far, he was on the ice this morning.
I saw Pagula was at practice.
Yes, he was.
For the boys.
When when the owner's on the bench for the morning skate, I don't know. Like to me, like it did seem like if you were gonna make the move on Lindy, it did seem like that was the right time. Like I don't know what can be gleaned. Like if you're Jarmo Kekalainen, like what more do you need to glean about the coaching situation? And do we assume that because he didn't take that time to make a decision on Lindy Ruff, maybe he did make a decision on Lindy Ruff, and he's keeping Lindy Ruff? But what can the Buffalo Sabres do now? Because outside of making trades, how much of an effect does a general manager change have on a team? Is Tage Thompson going to be a different player tonight?
No, I think you're right overall, but I do think that in this instance,
does this feel different?
It does. Well, it does for me. Like, what's Jarmo's reputation? It's a guy who will make bold moves, and now all of a sudden, some of the players that might have been pretty fat and happy under Kevin Adams. Do you think Owen Power ever thought he was getting traded under Kevin Adams?
Well, hang on. You're assuming that everybody wants to stay there.
You're right. Okay.
I'm serious. Like you're assuming, man, we're playing for our jobs to stay here on this last place team where we've been spinning our wheels for years. Oh, don't trade me, Jarmo. Don't trade me to a contender. Not now. Where's my fainting couch? I can't believe you entertained that idea.
Encourages them to play better? Doesn't that encourage them to play better? What, did Steven Stamkos start scoring because he wants to help the Predators win the division? He started scoring because his name's out in trade rumors and he had to prove he could still score a goal.
Or he was just due to start scoring again. No, it's because Barry Trotz went on the radio and screamed at the guys because they're like 7-0-3 or 7-3-0 ever since then.
Listen, I think it's entirely possible that they get a little runway to see what happens after a major change in the organization. I also think it's possible. Look, man, like I said, look at the calendar. It's December 18th. How many times do you see? And I know we just saw Kevin Adams, get booted, but like a lot of these like major changes, especially involving coaches, don't tend to happen like right before the holidays. They kind of happen sometimes right after the holidays.
Trade freeze is tomorrow, 11:59 for the holiday trade freeze. Are we gonna get any under the wire here? Rasmus Anderson gonna end up in Dallas, Toronto
from the contending Flames? I don't know, man.
I don't know. This one.
All these teams are way too close.
Yeah, that is a problem.
Yeah,
that one's a major one. Real quick before I talk about franchise valuations, just something I should have flagged this one for Zach. I don't know why it was great, but we just mentioned Nashville a couple of seconds ago. Did you see Roman Josi steal a goal from Pyotr Kochetkov last night?
I did not.
Oh man, it was gorgeous. Kochetkov fires one from right beside the net, behind the goal line, and just over the blue line. Roman Josi, whose vertical must be ridiculous, jumped up to knock it down. It was outstanding. To me, that was the highlight of last night, outside of the Jake Allen poke check. All right, let's get right to our major guest here of the day. We talked about it before. We're going to talk about it a little bit more. Franchise value around the NHL. Joining us now, Justin Teitelbaum from Forbes magazine. No surprise that the Maple Leafs are on top, but how did we get there seems to be the big question. First of all, Justin, thanks so much for stopping by today. And I don't think anybody was surprised to see the Toronto Maple Leafs on top. Maybe some eyebrows were raised at 4.4B, but now that we're in the area where the Pittsburgh Penguins have now just been sold, from Fenway Sports Group to the Hoffman Family Trust, or the Hoffman family rather, headlined by David Hoffman, at $1.7 billion. First of all, did that one surprise you? Anything about that surprise you? The number, the fact that Fenway got out, anything about that raise an eyebrow for you? And thanks for joining us on the show today.
I appreciate you having me on. And I guess with the Penguins sale, it was a little surprising that Fenway got out so soon after buying into the organization. But the number was right around where we heard it would be. So the number not necessarily surprising, but yeah, I mean, typically outside of private equity firms, you don't necessarily see teams being traded just 4 years after they were initially purchased. So yeah, that side of it was a little surprising.
If I can jump in quick and then I'll hand this over to Greg. One of the things that I do think is interesting through all of this is, it's 5 years since Fenway bought the team and they near doubled their money on this sale inside of a few years. Like, it's a pretty healthy snapshot of the league right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen, big jumps on the sponsorship side revenue wise. TV money just seems to be, continuously increasing as well. The new national Canadian deal is kicking in next year. So, that's a big sign of good things to come for the league. International has exploded as well. Four Nations was a huge success last year, have the Olympics this year, and then World Cup of Hockey coming up in a couple of years as well. So, there's been a lot of interest, not only from the fan side of things with the play being what it is and, just continuing to become more popular, but from a financial standpoint, it's definitely seen an uptick on that side.
Justin, thanks for joining us. Was there any team on the list or team that you've evaluated that you were surprised by how much they're actually worth vis-a-vis their maybe assumed prestige within the National Hockey League?
So I guess the one that surprised us this year was the Hurricanes. There have been reports out there, we've heard from sources that Tom Dundon, I should say, is, offering up a minority stake in the franchise and that it's going to be valued at least $2 billion. So, I think compared to last year, we had valued, or 2024, we had valued the Hurricanes at right around 1.25 billion, somewhere in that neighborhood. So hearing, a minority stake being valued at least 2 billion was a bit surprising. But, at the same time, like I said just a second ago, with everything that we've seen on the financial side of things, not necessarily all too surprising.
Mm-hmm. We were talking, Justin, before he came on, and sort of, what's led to this explosion in franchise value. Like, I've always been, there's one person who always reminds me, whenever there's anything that happens in the NHL, anything around the commissioner, I'm always reminded by the same person who says, don't forget, Gary Bettman essentially has one job, and that is franchise value. And everything is in service to franchise, even though it doesn't appear to be, it is always in service of franchise value. And it's been an explosion since Bettman started in 1993. And there's a very owner-friendly CBA, as we know, which goes back to 2004, 2005, and keeps getting more and more restrictive for the players specifically. And here comes another one where the Gordian knot gets a little bit tighter for the Players Association as we move along. But a couple of other things, like I think a lot of other things factor in, and I'm curious how you would. Like, what pegs of the ladder would you put these three things on that have helped to fuel franchise value? One, private equity. Two, pension funds. And three, sovereign wealth funds.
Oh,
How much of those contributed? Well, sovereign wealth, I mean, that's Washington, right? I think Washington were the first there. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a tricky one because, private equity, although it's been in the league or in all four major leagues now for several years, we're still trying to figure out at Forbes, exactly what role private equity institutions play in franchise valuations. Obviously, when they purchase a part of a team, there's an associated value with that. And we use that as a data point to instruct our valuations of these teams. But we're still trying to figure out exactly what that means for overall control stakes in teams, which is what we're trying to establish with our valuation publishings, is what a team would sell for if the entire team were to be sold.
Can I ask one quick question about private equity and sovereign wealth? I don't want to get too deep in the weeds here, but just so all of our viewers and listeners understand too, sovereign wealth funds, private equity, they can buy in and own a piece of franchise, but they can't play any type of active role in the franchise, correct?
That is correct.
They just get a statement, and that's it.
Yes, each league has its own rules and regulations around private equity. I believe in the NHL, it's a limit of 20% in each team and a limit of 5 teams per private equity fund, I believe. Don't quote me on that exactly.
Sounds about right.
I'm about right. Almost positive. Yeah.
Okay.
And sovereign wealth, I'm a little bit more shaky on. And like you said, the Capitals are the first team to, explore that space. I think sovereign wealth would be more akin to just, an owner coming in and purchasing a minority stake in a team.
Yeah. Yeah. Cutter, I think owns like a 5% stake in both the Wizards and the Capitals. They kind of bought into the Leonsis Empire. One of the things that I constantly hear whenever the franchise valuations come out from your publication or others is sometimes you hear from agents, and these agents do believe, to the shock of no one, that the players should make more, that the league should generate more revenue than it does, that the team should be more valuable than they are. When it comes to the NHL versus NFL, NBA, MLB, not necessarily in franchise value, because obviously those sports are in another, stratosphere than the NHL. But as far as growth goes, are they on kind of the same bell curve as other sports, or should these teams be worth more than they are?
Good question.
Thank you.
It's as far as the bell curve of growth, it's, a lot of the other leagues are more mature than the NHL is. So specifically the NFL and MLB have been around for well over 100 years. The NHL has as well. But, it's NHL kind of being behind the curve in terms of popularity. And, personally, I don't understand that. I'm a huge hockey fan, and, if I had a couple $1 billion to throw around, I would probably invest in hockey at this point. But, it's hard to say if they should be worth more at this point. So when we publish these valuations, we're not necessarily putting out what we think our opinion of what these teams are worth. We're consulting industry experts, people who are working on these transactions that take place, and getting a consensus from them on what they're seeing in the market, what these teams are trading at revenue multiple wise, and kind of basing it off of those data points rather than just expressing what our opinion is. So at this moment, do I think they should be worth more? Hard to say. Do I think team values will continue to go up as we continue doing these exercises? Absolutely. I mean, the scarcity there is what plays in.
I have to admit that I was looking forward to buying into an NHL team when I win the Powerball this Saturday. But apparently the taxes nationally, federally rather, and in New York means that my take home is quite minuscule. I could maybe get like a 5% stake in one of these teams, but I couldn't buy one, which is kind of a bummer, Marek. I was really hoping that you and I could operate.
You'd be, I
one
would
of these teams.
love to see you at Board of Governors meetings, but I would just, that would.
So would Batman. Could you imagine the first Board of Governors meeting where I walk in as the owner of an NHL franchise and Gary has to glad hand me? Oh my God. That'd be worth putting all the Powerball money into play. I tell you that right now.
That's your behind the scenes show. That's the one you want to watch. Sorry, go ahead, Greg.
It's like that movie where John Goodman became King of England. That's me becoming an NHL owner.
So here's one of the things that I wondered about, Justin, last year in the playoffs, and that is revenue sharing. Do we have an idea of how much revenue sharing to quote unquote smaller market teams, revenue teams that participate in revenue sharing, how much of their value is propped up by, just bluntly, teams like Montreal and the Rangers and the Maple Leafs, etc.? Do we have a sense of that? Do we have any idea?
Yeah, so revenue sharing is tricky, even for me, or for us, I should say.
That's why I ask, because I'm the same way.
There's so many different factors that go into revenue sharing, and the NHL just readjusted their revenue sharing model with this new CBA, where it used to be very top and bottom heavy, and now it's kind of more evenly spread throughout the league. Mm-hmm. So I don't know that it necessarily had all that much of an effect on valuations previously when it was top and bottom heavy,
right?
In the revenue sharing model, because at the end of the day, it is not a drop in the bucket, but for a lot of teams, they were getting, it's still, significant revenue for us, millions of dollars. But when you consider all of the other revenue streams, ticketing, media, sponsorship, all of the bigger revenue streams, it's more of a rounding error, except for what used to be the very extreme teams and the very on either end, right. The very extreme. Yeah.
See, one of the things that I've just quickly, I'll throw it to you, Greg, on this one. One of the things that I've always kind of wondered about here is, and I'll just use the Florida Panthers because they're the most recent, most successful organization in hockey by Stanley Cup measurement, not bottom line measurement. By measuring, the success of your franchise by winning Stanley Cups, the Florida Panthers are it for the last 2 years, and 3 because they made it to the Stanley Cup final as well. In my mind, the minute you win a Stanley Cup or 2 Stanley Cups in a row, in my mind, that should take you out of the revenue sharing pool. Like if you can't make it work after winning 2 Stanley Cups, maybe it's time to sort of rethink this investment here. Does that find a home with you, Justin? I don't think it does with Greg.
Justin, if I may be clear here, Jeff lives very close to Toronto. So he has a extremely skewed view of this revenue sharing thing.
Congratulations, Toronto! You just funded a cup winner again.
Anytime an emerging market in the United States has success, they should be taken off the dole, according to Marek. But please continue, Justin. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Toronto, being from New York, I'm personally myself an Islanders fan, so I'm not.
There you go.
I've not been a big fan of the Maple Leafs since he stole John Tavares away from us. But
it's a free agent. You got lured into that one. There was just enough cheese, cheese in the trap. Just enough cheese in the trap.
I digress. But it's. I think again, it goes back to, the revenue sharing model, especially with the changes that have been made to it, don't play a huge factor into these teams' overall revenue numbers.
Okay.
And Florida, based on our estimates, has significantly increased their revenue. We exclude playoff revenue from our revenue calculations, but the ancillary effect of having deep playoff runs that, in Florida's case, lead to cup wins, have longer lasting effects than just that one season. So ticket prices increase, attendance increases, you maybe sell a little bit more merchandise. The more attendance you have, the higher concession revenues you have. So that's where Florida's been, kind of keying in sponsorship wise as well. Right. When you have, back-to-back cup winners to add to your name, that always helps selling the sponsors. So, it's theoretically, I guess I would agree with you that, if you won 2 cups in a row, maybe something could be figured
hear that,
out.
Greg?
But
you won a couple of cups.
The revenue numbers do tell the true story. So
better not be out there with tin cup and pencils. You better not.
They got it.
You better not.
You understand how much money they need to cover the bar tabs at the elbow room? Like, they need all the revenue sharing they can get.
Fair.
Last one for me, Justin. So it's a 2-part question. First of all, the number being thrown around for NHL expansion fees is $2 billion. Your thoughts on that number? And the second question is specific to Atlanta, which seems like it's going to be one of the markets that gets a new NHL team. Your thoughts on the NHL trying to re-engage with that market for a third time? Might be something a little bit out of your purview, but I'm just curious about your opinion on that.
Yeah, so it is. We look at Forbes. We've always looked at expansion as, a lot of people will make the argument that it's a get-in price and that should be the floor for the league. We look at it as, when you're buying into an expansion franchise, your goal is to be somewhere in the middle of the league. And, you're buying a franchise not to be at the bottom of the league, but to be at least semi-successful and to be somewhere in the middle of the pack, at least, for the first couple of years. Obviously, the most recent expansion franchises that the NHL has seen, Vegas and Seattle, have both been, in Vegas's case, extremely successful, and in Seattle's case, pretty successful as well. But the $2 billion number makes sense. I think with where the average has fallen with us, with our valuations this year, it's right around just above $2 billion. So that number makes sense in my mind. And, to the Atlanta thing, I know Atlanta's been trying to build a hockey specific arena. Maybe that'll make a difference in that market. I'm not sure. I'm not sure it's for me to say if it'll be successful the third time around, but I personally have my doubts.
I hope so. I hope
it is. It's
selfishly, because I want as many trips to Atlanta as possible with extra days so I can go to Savannah. Like, just bluntly, just because I just want to go to Savannah. Like, sorry, just selfishly.
Fair. It would be great to see the Thrashers logo back.
Well, yeah, and they'll have ownership of all the old stats because obviously the Jets want to.
That's a
their
good
history.
Conversation. That is a good.
All right, we should have that conversation in a second. And again, like, the NHL is bullish on it because they believe that the demographics have changed and the arena would be in a better place than the previous one, and the business community's boomed since the Thrashers there. It's like that. I think they make a compelling argument. I'm somebody who thinks that they should give it another shot, even though it seems insane, and even though it probably means ultimately another franchise in Canada, which nobody wants. So I'm just saying, like, if they leave, they're obviously going to, like, Saskatoon or whatever. So
St. Louis tried that. Didn't work out in '83.
Yeah.
I'd also like to see Quebec City come back. So that's
there you go.
There we go. Bring back the Fleur de Lis. That gets right. Videotron Center. Let's go all day long. Okay, last one for me. So right now, franchise values, as you and your partner documented in the Forbes piece, sky high for the NHL. A more restrictive than ever CBA, a very owner friendly CBA. Like the winds are behind the owners' sails right now in the NHL. That is clear. Beside that is the idea of managing risk. Like when you look at what is still risky here, or what could, I don't want to say like take this thing off the road, but like what type of risk would owners be looking at right now, even given that everything seems to be on their side, their advantage? What is still risky here? Or are we in a situation where this is like, if you can get in, this is as risk-free an ownership situation as you're going to find?
Yeah, so I guess the biggest risk factor that we've seen over the past several years has been the rockiness of the local media landscape, with RSNs, declaring for bankruptcy and then coming back online, and it's just been a whole toss-up in that industry. But at the same time, that does seem to be kind of flattening out a little bit at this point, with Main Street, I think, is the name of the company now that controls FanDuel Sports Network. So it does seem to be getting back to a little bit of a better place at this point in time. And so even the risk there is mitigated to an extent. That's the biggest one that we've seen. I can't really, being that there's been labor peace in the NHL, that was always, a big risk factor as well for owners and potential owners. But
Justin, they really have found this sweet spot of, on the players' side, they feel like they have just enough. And on the owner side, it's just like, as Greg always uses the analogy of Scrooge McDuck jumping into a basement full of gold coins as they come home every night.
Just enough, and then also no stomach for a fight. I mean, let's be honest.
No stomach for a fight. That's a good point too. There's no appetite for that on the player side.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I get where they're coming from. When you lose a whole season in 04 and 05 and, have a shortened season several years later, it's, and got to do what you got to do to stay on the ice, I guess.
sign a deal where there's no pressure point for you whatsoever, and just surrender as your union heads rolling on the stage like a Shakespearean drama, and I am King curtain, and Gary Bettman walks off as a hero from a Shakespearean tragedy. But I digress, Justin. Listen, thanks so much for spending a lot of time with us. The piece is excellent and always eye-opening. We really appreciate you carving out some time for us today, Justin. Thanks so much.
I appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
I kind of painted sort of a Titus Andronicus picture there a little bit, like some of the early slasher plays by Shakespeare before he evolved into a more mature writer. He was just about like body count in all of his plays and blood.
Oh, I love his early stuff, man. He's kind of like Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi started out with the Evil Dead movies, then he moved on to stuff that's a little bit more squishy. And he made the Spider-Man stuff, but never forget where he came from, folks.
We all get
Same thing with Peter Jackson. You started with Dead Alive, and eventually made the Lord of the Rings.
By the way, I do want to have the Winnipeg Jets history conversation, but I am going to tell you right now, it's going to be a long one. Let's park that for next week.
Let's park it. Yeah, I was actually just trying to find
a significant one.
I was trying to find the actual report.
That's a big one.
Yeah, I was trying to find the actual report where they were talking about like gaining possession of the Winnipeg Jets.
I think Murat Atesh at The Athletic had mentioned it and has mentioned it a couple of different times.
We'll park that because that's a really fascinating discussion for a lot of reasons. I don't know. That was interesting. Interesting though, dude, that the average franchise value in the NHL, according to Forbes numbers, is actually above $2 billion. Do we see greater than $2 billion for an expansion fee, you think? Or do you think it'll just be a big, pretty number?
You see, like, and again, someone with a much taller forehead than mine, although mine is really getting tall. I'm starting to go here. Someone with a much taller forehead than mine can explain why this is. But I find the $1.7 billion number for the Pittsburgh Penguins kind of to be light, considering it's not an expansion team where you're starting from zero with a blank page. You have something that has equity in this league going back to 1967. So like you are actually buying something with assets. When you're buying an expansion team, if it's $2 billion, that's obviously more than the 1.7 for the Pittsburgh Penguins, and you're starting from nothing. And that's why I kind of looked at the Penguin sale and said, okay, again, this isn't the world that I live in. What am I missing here?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't gone down the rabbit hole too deep on it. I know Emily Kaplan wrote a bit about it on ESPN yesterday, but did Fenway just want to get out, and like this was the number that they said we're good with? I mean,
dude, they doubled in 5 years. They doubled.
Yeah,
they bought at 900. Right. They sold at 1.7. They almost doubled their money.
Yeah, it's not insane. As if they're sad about any of this, but you're right. I mean, when you think about $2 billion being the entry point into this league for a new franchise, then you see a franchise that has a certain amount of prestige being sold for less than that. It is kind of a little bit confusing, but that's it really. And to Marek, to your point, like, man, I mean, like, Jesus, $2 billion to get in, and then you're building your own arena. And you're building all of the infrastructure around that arena, because now you can't simply just build a building. You have to build the community around the building in order to make it work. I mean, it is a mind-boggling amount of money that it takes to create a situation where you can even get approved for an NHL team, let alone buy into the league. It's wild.
It is. Okay, you want to hang with us? Speaking of history, you want to hang with us for the history segment? I want to get your. Actually, I need you. I need you for your reaction. I need you for this one. So hang on, Greg Wyshynski, because it is time once again for Hungry for Hockey History, a presentation of Uber Eats. Uber Eats is enabling fans to maximize their fandom all season long with exclusive game day deals on the app. From game day eats to paper plates and napkins if you're hosting, to all the ingredients you need to make your favorite game day dip. Before, during, and after the game, Uber Eats is assisting every fan's hockey experience all season long. Zach.
In December 18th, 1926, the shutout bonanza took place. 4 games, 4 shutouts, but here's the catch. Not all 4 games had shutouts. George Hainsworth and Montreal Canadiens shut out the Toronto St. Pats 2-0. Doc Stewart and the Bruins blanked the Pittsburgh Pirates 3-0. And then here we go. Alex Connell and the Senators shut out the Montreal Maroons. And Clint Benedict and the Montreal Maroons shut out the Senators. That's right. That would finish in a 0-0 draw.
Yeah.
Clint Benedict.
I don't see why this is a big deal. This used to happen every night back in the mid-90s.
Actually, you know what? There is. Hang on, let me see if I.
He's going. He's searching.
No, I'm not going to the little miniature library that I have behind me. But once upon a time in the NHL, I was going to do a Clint Benedict story. Maybe I'll do this one better. Once upon a time in the NHL, this would have been, I want to say, early 20s. There was, because hockey essentially is a defensive game. Hockey's origins and its roots are based in sports like rugby, and this is basically a game that puts the accent on defense as opposed to offense. And
people say it wins championships.
Some do, and your favorite team won a number of championships by suffocating the fun out of the sport,
squeezing misconception of the 2000 team that was
squeezing the puck until it squealed.
I mean,
let me go, New Jersey! Enough of this trap and this python-like squeeze you have on the game as your. Okay, so in the early 20s. They found that most games were ending in like one. I think it was like 48% were ending in like 1-0 or 2-0 games. It was like all shutouts, and fans were like, "Meh, boring." Yeah, right. Like, okay, we came to watch this fast thing on ice and goals, and no goals are happening. So much like after the 04-05 lockout and the Brendan Shanahan summit, you know who had the first summit ever? As a way to help juice goal scoring? Art Ross, the Boston Bruins.
Well, that would make sense, wouldn't it? He's got his name on the award for points.
Okay, but what position did Art Ross play? Well, he was a
I don't know,
defenseman.
was he like
He was a defenseman.
defenseman?
But still, he was the one that hosted the summit to try to juice the scoring around the NHL. So thematically, that one does make sense. I think actually Art Ross may have taken the first penalty in NHL history. I think. Wow. Yeah, I think it was him. But anyway, so Clint Benedict, who is one of the shutout masters that Zach just talked about. I want to get your thoughts on this one thing. So his career was ended. So he was going through this experiment. Like Jacques Plante wasn't the first to put on a mask in the NHL. He was the first to popularize it and keep it on and play with it for the balance of his career, but he wasn't the first. So Clint Benedict experimented with it for a couple of weeks before Howie Morenz ended his career with a shot that caught him like at the top of the nose, and that was it for his career. I think he was like 35 or 36 years old. But anyway, so he's out of the game. Okay, so he's knocked out. And the backup goalie that they have wasn't available, so they went to essentially was a third-string goalie who was at home with a temperature of like 103. And they got him to the rink, and then they put him in net. They got him to the rink. He was still in his pajamas. Okay, they got him to the rink in his pajamas. It's true. And he had, for my money, one of the best nicknames in the history of NHL goaltending. First of all, his name was James Patrick Walsh. James Patrick went on to be one great defenseman in the NHL, whose nickname was Flat. Flat Walsh was his name. You know why they called him Flat Walsh?
No.
Because he lived in an apartment, or as it was called at the time, a flat. It's like one of the only guys who lived in an apartment, so that's what they call, hey, Flat. What do you call him, Flat? He lives in a flat.
He crawled so Condo Williams could walk years later.
Condo Williams could walk. I knew you'd have a great singer for it. Yeah, Flat Walsh. 1932, maybe, something like that, somewhere around there. One day when it's all over for me and I'm just like, enough of this, I'm just going to do a hockey history pod. Just tell old like Flat Walsh stories. And that's it. And then I'll just...
I think it's intriguing that you think that you don't already do one.
I don't do that now.
It's kind of fascinating.
Did
he wear his Scrooge-like nightcap while playing on the ice? That's
you know what? That's one of the great things about history too, is about hockey history, is goaltenders used to wear not caps. They would wear like old school baseball caps or like toques. Like that was one of the great things about Jose Theodore at the original Heritage Classic, was the toque over the mask, which I always consider, right? They're wearing it so he can stay warm, but I just looked at that as if it was a throwback to the 20s. Well, and guys like John Ross Roach wearing caps.
Yeah, but you know why he did that? Because the Propecia was still working. It hadn't taken hold yet.
That
famously.
Was just for his hair, Greg Wyshynski. That wasn't for anything else.
I understand. That's what I've been told.
For hair.
Look it up on the old internet. I think Puck Daddy probably covered that a few times back in the day. The Jose Theodore Propecia scandal.
There was no scandal.
It wasn't a scandal.
He did have some of the best feathers in the NHL.
No doubt.
Man, he was great for a couple years there, hey? Like, I always thought that, like, Hart Trophy should be like, the minute you get the Hart Trophy, automatically you're in the Hockey Hall of Fame. But, like, man, was he ever great. Like, you can recall,
think the minute you get the Hart Trophy, you should be in the Hockey Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
That's your standard?
Because I look at peak performers. That's one of them, yeah.
Wow.
Look at the history of the Hart Trophy. How many haven't made it in?
I'm not saying you're necessarily wrong. I just find
like, if you are...
I don't think I've heard you voice that before.
Yeah, if you are, because I look at not just like longevity is something the players always talk about. Oh, dude played for 15 years. Oh, the guy played for 17 years. Oh, the guy played for 20 years. Like that means a lot to players. For me, I look at peak performance. That's why I look at Eric Lindros or Pavel Bure. Like their careers weren't long, but the impact that they had in those short few years that they played, holy smokes. Get those guys in the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Assuming Carey Price gets in, which I think he probably will because he played for Montreal. I think you could say that the only guy that won the Hart Trophy in like the last maybe like 15 years, maybe even 20 years, it's not getting in based on your standard is Taylor Hall.
Yeah. That was with New Jersey, that one miracle year under John Hines, where John Hines just unlocked Taylor Hall. Yeah.
We both probably feel like Corey Perry's getting in, right? Is Corey Perry a Hall of Famer?
He's won everything.
Yeah.
Like,
So
honestly, one of the most decorated players in the history in the history of the game. Yes.
That's gonna really. There's people that are still pissed off that Taylor Hall won the Hart that year over McKinnon. Like, I say the same thing all the time. I'm just like, he was Herculean in getting the Devils into the playoffs that year. Like, he had the hottest, 5 weeks I've ever seen a player have to get them into the playoffs. Like, I think he deserved the Hart that year. He probably had my vote, but to the Marek standard of if you're an MVP or a Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
he's probably
there's going to be exceptions
in the last 20 years.
Yeah, there's going to be.
But the rare, but dude, I never thought of it in those terms. But like, there will be exceptions. But outside of Jose Theodore and Taylor Hall, like, going all the way back to, shit, man, like, everybody else that won the Hart since like 1960 is a bona fide Hall of Famer, except for those two guys.
But that is like, if you're the best player in hockey for that year, like, for you know how hard it is to be the best player in hockey for 8 months, 9 months.
Yeah.
Like, if you're that guy, you get in the Hall of Fame. For me, anyhow. Yeah. That's why I just look at peak performance. There's two things. There's longevity and peak performance. If you're a Hart Trophy winner,
I never thought of it. You might be onto something, because, like, everybody else is in the Hall of Fame.
Everybody does it. Everyone's in. Did I get one right? Even though you don't like my shootout ideas and you don't like,
you got one right because it didn't involve the shootout. most of your non-shootout ideas I'm down with. They're pretty good.
Anything involving
the shootout is insane.
Matthew Garon should be in the Hockey Hall of Fame because of his prowess in the shootout, and Jussi Jokinen as well because of his prowess in the shootout.
By the way, over games that have gone to overtime this season, we are at 27%. We're roundabouts, and we're cooking. That would still remain the highest in the shootout era, games that have gone past regulation into overtime. Not ended in a 3-on-3, but like games that have simply gone past regulation.
Past regulation. The other thing in that spirit is, and we'll end this conversation. Well, we don't end any conversations. We'll pause this conversation. We'll pause this conversation on this. And everybody's answer is different. To me, 3 aside feels right, but everyone's different. In a 60-minute game, how many minutes of power plays do you want to have? Where you can still look at it. It's where you can still look at it and say, okay, hockey is primarily 5-on-5. But at a certain point, it's like, if you have too much power, if you're just exchanging power plays for 60 minutes, I think we'll look at it and go like, that's not hockey. Do you have a sweet spot? Because for me, it's like 12 minutes of power play I'm good with. That feels
12
right
minutes
for
of
me.
Power play time, like a power play for each team each period, barring there being some major penalty.
Yeah.
Maybe
it's going to be offsettings all the time.
A little
like, as far as like power
action
play
in there
goes.
too. Yeah, ideally
is
about 12 minutes. But like, again, I'm not advert. We all want 5-on-5. Like, we all want, even strength, let the best team win. But I don't want struggle. Power play time. I think power plays are fun. Like, I think power plays are
fun. Power plays are fun, but still, you want to see, like, I think part of it is, power plays because it's like dynamic and moving the puck fast. Wow, this is awesome. But part of the charm is still like the struggle for a goal. Mm-hmm. The struggle for a goal is still super compelling. I as much as I love the 80s and 8-7 games, I look back at it now and I'm like, how was I into this?
Where are you in 2025 on 2-minute majors on being able to score as many times as possible?
I love it, and
I am too. Yeah.
That's a relic of the Rocket Richard, Elmer Locke, like Jean Beliveau. Yeah, can't have two because you take a penalty against the Montreal Canadiens and the game would be over.
Yeah, they got rid of it because of the Canadiens' prowess in the power play. Yeah. But again, like, it scares me a little bit if you're playing Edmonton. Like, the Oilers could probably win the President's Trophy based on their power play alone if you have them scoring as many times in 2 minutes as possible. But I do think that I'd love to see them try it. I'd love to see them try it just to see exactly who would thrive, to see how teams design their power plays differently, design their penalty kills differently, maybe orchestrate their penalties kills differently, and I do think it's one of those things where the other side of that coin is you score up on the penalty kill, the power play is over. Like, that would have to be part of the equation too.
Now you got me too.
Yeah, but I think it'd be fascinating to see that.
If only there was a league, not quite the NHL, but close to the NHL, where you used to be able to experiment with things like this. It didn't profoundly affect the National Hockey League. That didn't affect the players profoundly. So the transition when they go up to the NHL was too sharp, but they would play around with rules a little bit.
Is this hockey league based in North America, Marek?
I believe. Oh, you know what? Now that you mention it, I really do believe. Yeah. Springfield's important for this league. There's a team in a
there's
town
a
called
team
Chocolate
named
City
Ontario and also one in Ontario.
There's a couple of
multiple ones in Ontario.
And there's going. Here you go. There's going to be 3. Bridgeport going to Hamilton next year.
Oh, right. Okay.
Is that news?
Is it? It might be.
Should be announced in January or February. Is that news?
Did you break this news?
I don't know. Maybe I just blurted that out.
Like Connecticut, like Bridgeport, Connecticut?
What's that? Yeah, Islanders.
You mean the Islanders?
Going to Hamilton.
Wow. I listen. If it's been reported, I just didn't care. But like you've maybe made some news today.
But like an hour and 10 minutes into our podcast, I was like, wait a minute, that news?
Hey, listen, for MVSW completists, you just got a nice great nugget from insider Jeff Merrick.
Insider. AHL Insider. There's one person in the league, by the way, that every time I call, they always answer the same way. Oh, it's ECHL Insider. And I laugh. Great one. If you're watching, you know who you are. Okay, thanks, Wish. You have a great few days, and we'll rejoin with you for more arguments and maybe Winnipeg Jets history talk on Tuesday.
We definitely will pre-Christmas show, which means y'all can expect some little sort of holiday quiz to be on the next episode for sure.
Oh boy! And are we gonna do these? Should the NHL play on Christmas? And we'll talk about Stan Gilbertson, the last player to score a goal on Christmas Day in the NHL.
Yeah.
And all that.
Again, I reiterate. You claim you don't do a hockey history podcast. You'd like to do one.
one day, somewhere down the road. Thank you, Greg.
Bye.
Well, there he is, Greg Wyshynski from ESPN. All right, before I wrap up here, one thing quickly. The sheet, and I'll tell you what, powered by FanDuel. FanDuel is so kind to us, and they put up with all the shenanigans here because we had great stuff like this. The sheet is powered by FanDuel. Play your game with FanDuel. It's the NHL season, and FanDuel is your home for all the action on the ice. From Blue Line to Bet Slip, we've got you covered all season long with unique promos, live offerings, and more features to let you play your game. Missed puck drop. No sweat. With a live same-game parlay, you can build up your bets until the final buzzer. Download FanDuel Sportsbook today and play your game. Please play responsibly, 18 plus, and physically located in Ontario. If you have questions or concerns about your gambling or the gambling of someone close to you, please contact Connects Ontario at 1-866-531-2600 to speak to an advisor free of charge. Zach, you know what I was trying to do today?
Come up with your own parlay for tonight?
I did, but I only got 2. You would have been. I was gonna like, Zach, I got one for you. I was gonna do a Right Said Fred. I was gonna do Right Said Fred.
No, you didn't.
Frederick and Frederick Gaudreau. Yeah.
John Bankert texted me 2 hours before the show and gave me Right Said Fred.
Okay, I only got 2: Trent Frederick and Frederick Gaudreau. Who's the other Frederick?
He gave me Shane Wright to close it out, but that's
good. Oh, I was just looking for 3 Freds.
Yeah, I figured that was where you were going when you told me the 2, but that's nuts.
Right Said Fred. Oh, John. Yeah. See, John's smarter than me.
Holy
John.
Smokes, that is insane. I mean, like, you sure it's there, but that is nuts. I have the text. We were texting about it before the show because he sent his to me.
Freaking way.
I
woke up this morning and I'm like,
nuts.
Okay, 10 games. I'm going to get the FanDuel parlay for him tonight, and Zach's mind's going to go boom.
Yeah, well, my mind went boom, but for a different reason.
But then I failed. Because I'm like, looking at all the players going roster. I'm like, oh, you got Trent Frederick going back to Boston. This is going to be good. Or Frederick Gaudreau, Seattle's back at it. More interested in maybe the press conference afterwards, if it's only going to be the club reporter that talks, or are they going to have the nerve to let everybody else speak? Wow.
Yeah, nuts.
Okay, everyone go buy your lottery tickets.
No kidding. Yeah, today is a lottery ticket day.
Go
That's
get 'em. Or hit on
Holy.
Right Said Fred. Or hit on Right
Yes.
Said Fred.
Okay, so let me.
Wow.
I have one for you, but let's do this quickly. So, who are the players you wanted in it, and then I
only had 2 because I didn't think to do the right part. I just was looking for 3 Freds. So Trent Frederick, Edmonton Oilers, and Frederick Gaudreau, Seattle Kraken.
Yeah. Okay, so Trent Frederick, and then
I guess there's Freddie Anderson.
Gaudreau. Yeah, true. Actually,
How come Freddie
okay,
Hamilton's
and
not in the
then-
game anymore?
Right.
How come
So
there's no
if
more
you were to
Freds?
do
Fred
your
was a good
Right
name.
Said Fred, I can't do a graphic for this because I'm doing it in real time here, but this
Okay.
would be $5 would.
What?
$5 will pay you 1,070 on Right Said Fred.
Dude, man. If there's ever
That's
a
your
time,
lottery ticket.
if there's ever a
I'm
if there's-
betting this.
Oh man, like okay, if
doing it
Zach
right now.
doesn't show up to work tomorrow, you know that he hit on Right Said Fred on this Thursday
Yeah.
night.
Yeah. This is insane. The fact that you had this, JB had this, this
Wow.
is this has to go in.
So is this
do you wanna
like
see the one?
is this like I don't know, great minds think alike but fools seldom differ? What is it? We'll find out tonight.
We'll find out it tonight. I'm putting this
my-
thing in. I'm not.
See my previous point about FanDuel putting up with our nonsense here on this program. Thank you, FanDuel. Thank you for keeping the lights on, FanDuel. We love you. Thanks for indulging us in this nonsense.
Well, if you're not interested in having goal scorers tonight, you can you can do the one that I put together to go the opposite way because I
Okay,
haven't
what
been
do you
able to
got?
pick any goal scorers. So I'm sure you would remember this. I don't know if this reached outside of Canada. The ad. Do you remember the nice try no goal love commercials?
Oh,
And that with the
100%.
McDonald's minifigure. Yes.
Yeah,
So,
totally. No goal off. Yeah.
I have put together because we've always just done goal scorers on FanDuel for these and
Yeah.
shots and stuff. I've put together because they have no goal. You can bet on no goal. So this is Elias Lindholm, Braden Shen, Andre Burakovsky, Josh Norris, and Blake Coleman, all to not score tonight. $5 will pay you $10. I really didn't pick any of these guys for anything in particular, other than I used to do some sports betting stuff, so I just have gone through like the averages and the numbers of these. In theory, they're all supposed to be pretty good numbers here on each individual player. So like, this is not a shot at any of these guys. If anything, they should all be thanking me because they're probably all going to score tonight. But I have put together the nice try, no goal love parlay plus
try, no
213
goal
for
off.
tonight. Yeah.
That's great. Oh, that's awesome.
No, yours is way better. It blew me out of the water today. So there you go.
You know what? This is going to be one of those. You know when you have something happen to you, and it happens to all of us. When something happens to you that's like so freaking weird like this, you don't believe it, so you spend the rest of your day trying to convince yourself that it never really happened. I don't know if you do this. I don't know if people watching and listening do this, but I do this a lot. When there's like weird, like bizarre coincidences, I always try to reassure myself that there's no way that actually happened. And then I realized that we're all living in a sort of multi-universe, and then this one slice that's just sort of got together. But in the other multi-universes that we all live in, John Benkert and I never came up with the exact same idea at the same time.
Yeah, that exactly. Well, and he's
Although it's
pointing
not the
out
same
here in the
idea.
chat.
It's not the same idea because he had Shane Wright. He was smarter than
Yes,
me,
he had
'cause
Shane
went
Wright.
said Fred. I was just looking for Freds because I'm a simple
Yes.
I'm a simple person.
That's weird. That when you said that was
Your reaction was great.
yeah. that freaked me out a bit. But there you go. 2 parlays for tonight. 2 for the price of
Pretty
1.
sweet.
Thank you, FanDuel, for putting up with this.
Sorry, guys. We kind of went a little long on that one, a little goofy on that one, but nonetheless, it's the spirit of the thing. Spirit of the thing, Zach. Right said Fred.
Yep. Right said
Is
Fred.
Right said Fred still a good reference, or is that now dated?
It was
still
dated
old?
considering I didn't know what it was when John sent it to me. So
Are you serious?
yeah, I had to look it up. Yeah. That's also
But
like
you're
me.
like barely old enough to piss straight. So, like, we really should.
Yes, correct. Correct. Don't base it off me.
Don't base it on Zach. He's 11. All right. On that, we'll wrap things up. Thanks to Greg Wyshynski for stopping by. Justin Teitelbaum as well from Forbes. A big thank you for making us all smarter about franchise value. Thanks so much for stopping by the program today. Check out his piece at Forbes.com about NHL franchise value, which is a fascinating read. John, that was weird, bud. But thanks for that. Right, said Fred. Really good. Really good. Thanks to you for listening. Thanks to you for watching. Thanks to you for subscribing as well. We're back 1 o'clock tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern, that is, for more of The Sheet. It's Friday, so we'll be talking. Who do we have on tomorrow? Pagnotta. Dave Pagnotta's on tomorrow with our Friday Insider, and something else we'll come up with as well. But Dave's going to talk about next for the Sabres, next for the Flames, maybe next for Nashville. We shall see. But always a good conversation with Dave to finish up the week. And we'll do it tomorrow, okay? Thanks for the buns and the use of the hall, right, said Fred. Talk to you tomorrow. Jeff Merrick along with you. Hope you enjoyed the program today. If you did, or maybe even if you didn't, they can't all be gems, folks. Please hit the subscribe button. Also a reminder, every morning, 9 a.m. Eastern, Johnny Lazarus, Colby Cohen, I call them the Impact Players. You might know them as a tandem that makes up the Morning Cup of Hockey. Also DFO Live at noon Eastern. This year, your host Tyler Yaremchuk alongside Carter Hutton. Full day's worth of programming right here on Daily Faceoff, your favorite YouTube hockey channel. And as a reminder as well, Zach Phillips, our producer here for The Sheet, said if you subscribe, he'll buy you a puppy. It's true.